Daytona Beach Shores. We're here for this morning's hearing. The city has the burden of proof. They will go first. Then, after each member of the city testifies, you have a chance to cross-examine them. That is, to ask them questions. It is not your turn to tell me your story. After the city has exhausted its witnesses and presented its evidence, then it's your turn. You can show me pictures, you can give me an explanation, you can call witnesses on your own behalf. If at any time you do not understand what is going on, please ask me. I'll be more than happy to explain to you what your options are. I can't help you with the law, but I can certainly tell you what your choices are. Okay, the first order of business is approval of the minutes of the last meeting, which was May 18th, 2022. I know no one else was here except for the staff. Any objections to the minutes? All right, then they are approved. I'm going to take the second hearing first out of order. That is Pappas Daughters LLC, 2518 South Atlantic Avenue, Code Enforcement Case PCDEF 2020-94. And Ms. Gilligan? Yes, please. I see that you filed a notice of appearance for Pappas Daughters and a request for a continuance based upon a death in their family?
Yes, sir.
And would you still like that?
We would, Your Honor.
All right. And would rescheduling this to the next month in August be sufficient?
That is our request.
All right. Then that is granted.
Thank you very
You
much.
and your client are free to leave.
Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Just for the record, this is not Mr. Pappas here. This is Mr. Iannacco, who is not the property owner. He's just the tenant. Just so there was
Okay.
confusion on the basis of the request.
Well,
so.
no, I wouldn't know any different,
I
so.
just didn't want you to think he's here, but I'm still requesting the Excuse me.
All right.
It's on.
Right. Have a good day.
Thank you. Nice seeing you again.
Your Honor, could I please ask that you issue an order number 1 with the date specific of August 18th?
Yes. In order number 1, which is a rescheduling order for August 18th at 9 o'clock.
Sounds
You'll
good.
receive that in the mail, your client, and then it'll be sent to you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. I like to get people that only have a few seconds in front of me out of here early so that I have enough time to concentrate on longer hearings. The second is a post-initial hearing, AD1 Daytona Hotels LLC, CDEF 2021-85. And do we have anybody here on behalf of AD1?
Yeah.
Okay, and I recognize you, Ms., from the last time we were here.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Herstein, ready to proceed? Good morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. I apologize
For what?
for not being I actually ended up being so excited that the property manager was, or the owner was here, that I spoke with him and haven't put my slides into.
That's quite all right.
So if you'll indulge me just a minute, I appreciate it.
I hate to disappoint our fan at home watching this live. While that's loading, why don't you raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd first like to ask that the microphone be turned.
Well, I can't help you there. You're going to have to do it yourself.
I'd first like to ask that each of the documents provided by the city and the code enforcement's special magistrate's notebook for this case be accepted as evidence, along with the slides in the PowerPoint, which were provided for you on the dais this morning and which have been provided to the property owner.
Okay. I do not remember your name. I apologize.
It's Becky Darnell.
Ms. Darnell, did you have an opportunity to review the packet?
Briefly. I mean, but I've.
Okay. Do you have a legal objection to any of the items in the packet being entered into evidence?
I do not.
Okay. Then they'll be so received into evidence. Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a first compliance hearing for the second of two ordered compliance dates for this case. There was an initial hearing for this case back in January 19th of 2022. This case began with 39 violations. The property was found in violation at that initial hearing and was given 30 days to correct 5 life safety issues and 4 months to correct the remaining violations, including final inspection on all required permits. The 30-day deadline came. The property owner had taken some steps, but was not compliant with the order. This was confirmed at a first compliance hearing before His Honor on March 18th. Fines of $250 per day accrued to May 19th, which was the second of the two ordered compliance dates. On May 19th and May 20th, the property was re-inspected for full compliance as was ordered, was found to have remained in violation. The limited compliance was achieved. A second affidavit of compliance partial was generated for 12 violations, which were mostly brought into compliance by the fact that they were no longer required temporarily due to the fact that it was an active construction site. Substantial building permits had been reinstated for the lobby remodel, the porte-cochere roof, the swimming pool resurface. For the remaining 26 violations, an affidavit of non-compliance, second compliance date was generated. You can see both of these affidavits on pages 4A26 to 4A33. Because I wanted the property owner to have the information in the affidavits and the awareness of what was, what the city viewed as far as the status of the property, I sent a May 23rd email with the affidavits that I just discussed. I attached those affidavits and also updated information about permitting needs, things that were still outstanding, things that hadn't been wrapped up yet. I sent that to the property owner, the manager of the property, the owner's attorney, the general contractor, and also the permit/construction coordinator, Nicole. You can see that email starting on page 4A51. Notice for today's hearing was sent by certified mail. One of the 2 mailed notices was received, and also hand delivery achieved good service to the hotel manager. Affidavits for service begin on page 4A37. I was going to ask if there was a desire that I show the slides of the pictures for the remaining 26 violations. I do plan to do that now instead of asking, because I had a brief conversation with the property owner, and it seems that we are, our understandings of where the property currently stands are disparate. So I think it would be instructive to the property owner to show those slides. That's up to Your Honor's discretion.
Ms. Herstein, I hate to interrupt your flow, and I did not realize this last night when I read the book. My book goes from page 50 to 52. I do not have the email that you referenced on page 51.
I'd like to present it to His Honor directly out of my packet, if I may.
Please. Didn't realize that last night.
I apologize.
It's okay.
May I approach?
Yes, please. Thank you. Just give me a second, because I have not read this. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city does have a recommendation. I would like to show the slides first, if I may. These 2 slides are screenshot of the permitting software for all permits from midnight 2019 to current.
Okay,
The boxes in green are current and active permits. You can see that those boxes in green in the expiration date off to the right, those are going to expire in September,
right.
early September, if progress is not made and inspections called for. The boxes in red refer to mainly the permits for the rooms, which have not yet been obtained. There is a separate code enforcement case regarding specifically the expired permits. That code enforcement case is not one that we're getting into today. It doesn't have any date. Its date had already come and gone to become compliant. Those boxes in red are permits that have not been reobtained yet. We did receive, on a positive note, a roll of plans a couple days ago, and those are going to further those permits toward being able to be reviewed, though I do know that there are some other pieces that we still have not obtained. Generally, I mean, I haven't looked at the plans, but generally, some of what we're still waiting for generally comes in more of a notebook form as opposed to on a roll of plans.
Okay.
So I can't say definitively, but I have the expectation that there are still a few things that need to be submitted. But getting the plans was a positive step.
We've been through several hotel renovations now since I've been doing this. This one seems a little bit stutter-stepped than most of them.
I agree, Your Honor. I agree. I'm delighted that the owner has come today to help make sure that that he gets all of his questions answered and can move this forward in hopefully a meaningful way. The second part of this, basically, these are still the permits from back to the earlier permits from back to mid-2019. These are the ones that mostly, except for the two check marks, the ones that expired and were past the point of being able to be reinstated. I would like to take you, and I apologize, I'll go as quickly as I can. I would like to ask that if the property owner has specific questions about any of these, of course he can ask. I don't know if you'd prefer that he stop and we talk about it while we're looking at the picture.
I'd like to talk about it while we're looking at the picture so that we're not doing something redundant and going back and
That sounds good to me. I
forth.
don't mind the interruption if there are questions.
And sir, are you the property owner?
I'm one of the owners, yes.
And what is your name, just so that I can address you properly?
Yeah, Alex Fritzon.
Alex Frisno?
Fritzon, Fridzon.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fritzon is the, I did ask at an earlier point to have a particular property owner that I could copy on emails to make sure that somebody in that group was aware, and he was the contact that I was given. So
Okay.
I'm delighted to see him here. Violation A, generally the upper pictures are with the orange tab, usually toward the upper left, and the lower pictures will have a red tab toward the bottom. I do also have slides of the now compliant 12 violations, but I have hidden those. I don't think that's as important for today's hearing that we talk about.
All right, we'll do
But they
those.
are printed and available to the property owner in his packet.
Okay,
The bottom slides are showing that basically the weeds taller than 12 inches in places are still remaining that way. I put my clipboard down in the bottom right picture to show you that's about almost 12 inches, that clipboard, and they're above that height.
okay.
The weeds inside the property are not at issue at this time because they do have active permits, and we generally don't worry about landscaping so much when a property is enclosed by a construction fence. We're not
Makes sense.
Trying to have them manicure trees inside. Violation B, sorry, C, excuse me.
Yeah, is it okay? So my understanding is this clean now?
Lewis is maintaining it.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
fantastic, and if you will tell me that kind of thing after, I will go and re-inspect everything. My point is, and I should have said this earlier, this is a snapshot of the property as of May 19th, May 20th. I was there May 19th and did complete pictures. May 20th, I went back to make sure that nothing had changed. It was a rainier day, so I have a couple pictures from May 20th, but I was glad I had gone the day before. But I did visually verify, and that's in my affidavits, that nothing, no more compliance had been achieved, like, let's say, at the end of the May 19th date. Okay?
So now if we tell you this, you can go back and reinspect.
Absolutely, and I want to know. Anytime compliance is achieved, I do want to know. Let's include that in what we talk about afterward, for sure. But this is a snapshot. What I'm here talking about today is the property as of May 19th, May 20th, and if additional compliance has been achieved, that's fantastic, but unfortunately, it doesn't apply to this proceeding.
I get it.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like us to, as you go through, and I just want to, so we can, clearly, and I understand, I'm sorry. Can we update you as we go through, so you know? Or you would
For his
prefer-
honor's purposes, I think
Later.
that it's appropriate to talk about it later. Yep. This is really, as, you know, where did the property stand May 19th, May 20th?
Understood.
Thank you. Violation C, we skipped B because it became compliant. Violation C, the sign was materially altered after the 2012 design, which you can see in the upper left corner. No permit was obtained. Photometric component faces were substituted or covered with canvas-like material. The orange picture was how it looked in November. The bottom right picture is how it looked May 20th.
And no one caught this in 10 years?
No. This was built the way that it was designed.
Oh,
It was
okay.
approved the way that it was designed. And then along the way, there were like waterfall panels on either side. Those stopped working. They, at one point, attached like a canvas cover over the photometric faces. And that was the point at which it became, you know, changed without a permit,
Okay.
altered without
Right.
permits and approval. And so that's the point at which it was included in our write-up. No, it was a gorgeous sign when it was installed. It was really interesting and one that I had not seen anything like before. I just included that so you'd know what it looked like before.
Okay, I understand now. When I wrote it last night, it's like 10 years it's been
Went
out
really
of
slow.
compliance.
Okay, so violation D, loose debris is present in areas of the property. And again, I'm not showing you pictures inside the construction site. Debris still remains there, but we're not so concerned about the construction site part of it. This is not contained by a fence. This is not part of what would be excluded for care. This is actually, both of these lower pictures with the red boxes are along a pedestrian beach access. So it's pretty viewable by anybody who wants to go to the beach that way. Violation E, stucco, and feel free to say, I don't understand if you don't.
No,
Okay?
I understood, I
making
just
my
asking,
notes for-
I'm
I'm making
asking
notes for
Becky
later.
if that was clean, that's all.
Awesome. And you have these pictures in your packet. Violation E, stucco is missing in places on the main building. I actually went by this morning, Your Honor, and took a walk around the property from the exterior, you know, from outside the property. These places where stucco is missing, they are still missing, but there's a lot of, they're actively
Okay.
peeling off the stucco. And the reapplication of that requires a permit. They don't have a permit for that at this point, but we understand why they want to do that to further
Sure.
the property.
And I understand this is a major renovation and it can't happen overnight, so. All right,
Violation F, stucco is missing in places pool equipment room. May 19th it looked, and 20th it looked much the same as it had. Violation M, cracks in multiple places on the retaining wall on the south property line. That looks much as it had, possibly a little bit worse. The cracks are the same. Some of the stucco has peeled off more than it was. The north retaining wall is failing at the northeast corner. We discussed that a little bit before the meeting today. They did a renovation of the seawall beneath this retaining wall, and that looks fantastic and was painted. This retaining wall could have been added to that permit, the scope of work, while it was open. I did send that in that May 23rd email, hoping that they could combine those two and really wrap that part up. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That seawall permit was closed. This remains unpermitted at this point. Violation P, paint is peeling and discolored in places in the building. That's actually going further away, but hopefully getting closer at the same time. The fact that they're getting it ready to apply a code. hopefully. Violation Q, paint is deteriorated in places on balcony and walkway railings. You can see, I gave you one balcony where you can see the blue that was the undercoat of paint coming through. You can see it very clearly, and that's true for most of the railings at the property. Violation S, concrete spalls visible in places around the building. That has remained and has possibly worsened, though I didn't look at any particular site and say, wow, that's much worse, but it hasn't been addressed
Okay.
to date, and not as of May 19th, 20th. Concrete spalls around windows, south side of the breezeway. This is not a fantastic picture, but I can attest that that was not addressed. And you can see, like the top left spall, which is very dark, you can see that same darkness in the lower picture that I took. It's, some of the views are a little tougher with the fence, the construction fence around, which means the construction fence is doing part of what it's there to do, so that's good. Violation U, multiple windowsills are deteriorated, especially on the south building face. There are a couple pictures of some. Again, that has remained unchanged to the eye, at least to my eye, since well, at the reinspection, and there are no permits in place to address that either, so. Violation W, section of pole from previous sign is a non-functional element, currently protected by overturned traffic cone in landscape island west of building northwest corner, northwest corner. I have shown you in the box with the black around it, that was the sign that was there previously when it was called a different name. And the pole for that has never been pulled out, and I don't see that it has. It's harder to see because of the green construction fence. If they have taken steps to that and have evidence to that effect today, that would be fantastic. I would accept that, but I don't see that any work has been done in that area.
That's an overturned traffic cone jammed into the hole?
The top left picture is an overturned traffic cone. One of the orange cones.
Okay.
Stuffed into the.
Looks like a bigger trip hazard than the hole.
Well, generally those cones are best, you know.
Right.
But I don't know. Anything about that?
No, that was there from before, so we gotta fix it anyway.
Right. Violation X, loose cable and conduit south of building toward west corner. It was, remained that way on the 19th, 20th, but we heard discussion earlier that somebody's working at that spot right now, so fantastic. The window boarded south of Breezeway, no permits have been submitted to replace any windows.
Can we see that one before real quick?
Sure.
Loose cable?
The loose cable, you can see the black snaking of it. I don't have a good picture of it snaking around the front like it still was, but that's something that should be pretty straightforward to rectify.
I'll address it in my.
Okay.
Violation Y, window boarded south of Breezeway. That's fine. I think we talked about this one already. No permits have been obtained to replace those windows that were boarded. You can see the windows still existing as they were previously. Violation Z, porte-cochere roof is missing top layer elements, roofing paper visible. They do have a permit for this, but it has not moved forward yet. Violation AA, soffit is missing from the north side of the porte-cochere. That was a May 19th.
So the last one is the porte-cochere. I guess that that's the one we need the trusses so we can do the porte-cochere. We're waiting for the trusses to arrive, I assume.
Yeah, we have the permit.
Do you have any issue, or do you have any evidence or testimony that this wasn't done by the 19th, 20th? That's really. In violation double A, soffit is missing from north side of porte-cochere. You can see in the May 19th view that it was not changed and it was not on May 20th. Gutters disconnected and missing pieces at porte-cochere. Different view than the top left pictures, but the same exact site, showing no change. Violation CC, fascia is undetected at the north side of porte-cochere. Again, slightly different view, but remained unchanged at that time. Drip edge rusted along west side of porte-cochere. Not a fantastic picture. Again, the our viewing area is slightly different from, with the construction fence in place, but you can see that it has not been addressed yet. Violation EE, multiple concrete spalls on seawall. It was not rectified at the time, though the job appeared to be complete. This was a May 20th picture showing the gorgeous wall.
Yeah.
But we had not received the engineering yet, and the permit was not final approved. So basically, that has happened since, but as of May 20th, that had remained in violation because we didn't have anything to final approve it with. Violation GG, multiple cracks in the tall retaining wall on the south property line. There are cracks throughout. Again, I didn't see much of that change in a worsening way, but these are definitely concerning issues, and I haven't seen them worsen to my half untrained eye, but I also haven't seen them improve in any way or any work be done to them.
And forgive me, that's by the public walkway?
This is as you're leaving A1A, passing that patch of
Okay.
area that you said that Pedro or somebody was working in this morning? Lewis, okay. And that's the first thing that you'd come to as far as the wall goes, with that line, and then the rest of this wall is continuing, it's on your left as you're walking to the beach.
Okay.
So it's your south property.
And that south retaining wall is us?
As far as we're concerned, absolutely.
Okay.
If you have a survey showing that it's not, I'd like to know.
Oh,
as soon
no, I
as
meant
you-
our responsibility. I'm sorry, just because it was a public walkway, I'm not saying I ignored it, but gotcha.
Stucco is also cracked on the tall retaining wall on the south property line, and there are a couple re-inspection pictures showing that. I apologize, the date was not changed at the top of, in that red bar. That was you can see on the pictures of May 19th, 2022, those pictures were taken. Violation II, monument style sign is colored with rust and mildew. There's a shot of that on May 20th, looking much the same. Violation JJ, monument style cabinet components deteriorated and rust covered, very similar to previous shots. Violation KK, light fixtures rusted and deteriorated in multiple places on the property. The follow-up pictures are not as, my pictures were a little bit fuzzy. It was super muggy that day, and the pictures, some of them came out a little fuzzy, but I do think you can still see those are two different lights on two different floors, just right above and below each other, showing that those have not been addressed yet. I would like to make a recommendation. Before I move from these slides, is there any, may I ask the respondent if they have any specific issues with any?
Sure. I think with this type of volume, we're going to depart from the normal way we do things so that it remains relevant in the space and time in which it was presented. Is there anything you'd like to say about any of the pictures or talk about any individual picture that was presented?
I mean, I do, but I'm not sure if Alex.
Go for it.
I'll take it from either one of you. It's okay.
Go first,
Do you want me to
then.
approach that?
Yes, please.
I apologize. I think I should probably, I can go back to specific pictures.
If you want. I
And
have
we
to.
can talk about it that way. I'm not sure it's going to be simple for them to come up and go back to specific pictures. So
It's okay, I've got my notes.
Well, let's see.
yeah, okay, let's see.
Come on up,
Absolutely.
Mr. Darnell.
I mean, I'm gonna do my best, and I'm not gonna talk about every single one.
No, you can talk about it.
All right. Could you please raise your right hand? Oops. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. All right, what would you like to talk about?
And again, I understand, I've been to enough of these. I know that there was the compliance date, but I am just gonna mention a couple of things. Questions also, if that's okay.
If there are questions, if what's appropriate right now for this conversation before the magistrate is any evidence that you have that by May 19th, May 20th, any of these items that I've just discussed were compliant.
Okay.
If it's as of May 21st or later, it's not relevant to this hearing.
I
It's
understand.
very relevant for our discussion afterward.
Okay, so if it's a question, I should wait till after?
No, if it's a question we don't understand something, yes, you can ask them.
Question right now would be very appropriate.
Okay. On violation A, all I was going to mention was that we are maintaining that side. I understand, and if it wasn't before the date that you took the picture.
Right. Are you stating that it was maintained as of May 19th, May 20th? We'll go
I
back.
can't prove it.
Well,
Let's assume it was after.
Right.
Because
I just
the
want you
proof
to know.
shows.
right, but the point of this hearing is really about that date, and that's why I'm not trying to be argumentative.
I'm not either.
I just want to make sure that, are you saying that by, and I was back on May 20th, that, and it looked exactly the same?
And I'm sorry for that, but we are maintaining. I just want you to know I'm not
But
ignoring
it wasn't maintained as of May 19th, 20th? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
picture that I
correct.
took and was there, and
Then
haven't
that's,
activated.
then it wasn't.
Okay.
And that's my bad. A question I have on C for the sign. It is something, obviously, we have to change and permit and have with the new Hilton name, et cetera. It just hasn't been done yet. I thought there was a permit a while back, but that's when we had another project manager. Because it's within the fence, does that not make it?
No.
I mean, because I don't want to have to put up a new sign with construction going on.
Right, this is a question for afterward.
Okay.
Really, may I ask you, or do you have evidence or testimony that that does not remain in disrepair? That's not what it looked like on May 20th?
It looked like that, May 20th.
Okay.
So question for after.
Right. Do you,
Okay, I'm
all right.
sorry.
What I guess we're asking at this point is, everything that's been presented, was there anything that was presented that was misleading or incorrect as of May 20th?
Let me look.
And I will be more than happy to listen to mitigation issues after we've established that there's a violation. Like, I do note that when it came to the doors to the electrical compartment, that you were waiting for FPL and you were actively doing something about the problem, but because of an outside agency, you couldn't move as quick as I had ordered. And I will take that type of information into consideration.
Okay.
You know, I don't believe in ordering you to do something impossible.
Okay.
Okay, so, but this is not mitigation. This is yes or no, essentially.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I do know that, and that's why I said I'm probably missing the mark. The electrical doors were done with FPL on March 3rd.
Yeah, that actually.
Not even there.
We're not there, because that compliance hearing was held in February. It was a no at that point. That's what the second compliance hearing, when the property is compliant, is all about. That's the mitigation that he's talking about. And he wants to know all of those, and hopefully I'm sharing with him what I know, and then you'll have other evidence and testimony to help give him, you know, any and all reasons that may warrant lowering any fines that have accrued.
Okay. The only other question, and you may also say the same thing, you and I had spoken some of these, the stucco, peeling paint, et cetera, was, and I think you said it before, but because we are under construction, that they were not going to be individual violations?
No, anything that was pulled off because of you being under construction, none of them were the ones on the affidavit of non-compliance, second
The
compliance.
issue is that we need a permit for the
ones-
outside work to be non-compliant, right?
The ones that we've just talked about were the ones that you are deemed still in violation of. You are in violation of having peeling paint and having stucco coming off. Even though it is a construction site, you were given the 4 months to rectify the issues and bring it to conclusion, including an approved final permits on all of that work. This was showing that that was not done by that compliance date given. The things that fell off were on that list of, let me unhide those slides, and I think this will be helpful to everybody, if you don't mind. As an example, the building hasn't been registered as a vacant building in the city's vacant building monitoring program. Violation B. That's not required as long as the property is an active construction site with active permits, substantial permits. That's not required. So to say you're in violation of that at this time is not appropriate, because you have the active permits required to push that off to the side. Does that make sense? The same with the landscaping issues. That's not going to be something that, it's still an issue outside of your construction area, but inside the construction area, I'm not showing pictures of that because it's not really appropriate. The same with the debris.
I
Let's find
understand.
another unhidden slide.
And I think, Gwen, my question is why, I still don't understand why the peeling paint, stucco, et cetera, would not be in the same category as that.
Because those items were given 4 months from that initial hearing to become compliant.
No matter what, like even,
All of these violations were given, other than the 5 which had the 1 month period, all of the rest of the violations were given 4 months to become compliant. And I'm showing with these slides that by that 4-month period, they did not become compliant. The vacant building registration didn't become compliant, and the certificate of compliance vacant property didn't become compliant, but because you have the active permits, those are not currently at issue. Should your permits fail to advance, expire, should we demonstrate that there is no active ongoing work on the property, then those are in violation again. But because you have active permits and are moving it forward as best you can, at this point, that's not required. It would be inappropriate to have you get a vacant building
Right.
registration when you have an active ongoing construction site. It's specifically in the code written that way, that you don't have to if you have an active ongoing construction site. But the other issues were meant to be done after 4 months.
okay, I'm sorry, I did not catch that, I'm sorry. Because, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, those, like concrete, stucco, et cetera, are really extensive work. I guess that's what I'm saying.
That is very appropriate for you to keep track of and explain to the special magistrate when the property is compliant at the second compliance hearing. You gave me 4 months. I'm sorry if I'm saying too much, but I'm really trying.
No, you're explaining it very well.
You gave me 4 months. It took 6 months just to do that one, piece of the job. That's appropriate information for him to have so that he can decide what happens at the end once you're compliant to the fines. Did he not give you enough time? Well, we thought it was enough time at the time, but for whatever reasons you're going to demonstrate with evidence and testimony, he can reduce based on what you provide. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But those are still in violation, and they are accruing fines. They were not pulled off the list. And I'm happy to talk to you about what else came off the list, because it's an active construction site. But there are things like I've just showed you, and I can go through it further if you need to or want to.
Now, I'm not committing to reducing your fine, but as I demonstrated with the FPL door issue, I'm not ordering you to do the impossible because you had to rely on a third party, and it's a dangerous instrumentality, and I don't want you moving forward and getting zapped. So we're going to be reasonable, but I'm not committing to anything because I can't.
I understand.
Okay, but the more thorough you can be with using a calendar, showing me, for instance, you ordered lumber from Lowe's and they promised it to you on the 15th, and it didn't arrive till the 30th. That's all beyond your control and very relevant. I'm not here to bankrupt you. I'm not here to stop your project. We want your project to move forward, and we want this piece of property back in commerce so that the buildings around it don't complain that you're looking less than beautiful. So get it done as quick as you can, and then come back and explain to me why you would like me to reduce your fine. And I have a history of being reasonable.
Yes.
I don't get any percentage of the fine. And I don't believe Ms. Herstein's bonus is based upon it either, so.
I don't get a bonus. Come on.
No
I
bonus?
don't get a bonus. I'm under oath. I didn't
I'll write
get
a letter.
bonus. it would be wrong for me to get a bonus anyway.
Separate
I
conversation.
want you to understand, and we'll stay as long as, I'll stay as long as I need. He may have commitments, but the point today is whether or not all of these items were done by May 19th, 20th.
Okay. And I think I focused on the safety issues more and,
Which is fantastic. That had a 30-day time. We wanted you to focus on those more.
Like the pool. If I have a bias or a prejudice, it's an open pool.
I understand.
So,
I will make my recommendation, and then it's their opportunity to.
Yes.
Okay.
And what is your recommendation?
City staff is requesting that you issue an order number 11, which states that the property remained in violation beyond the second date previously ordered to have corrected all the violations, that you impose the daily fines, which have continued to accrue at $250 a day as a lien, and that you impose additional administrative fees of $92.43, supported by an affidavit on page 4A47. When added to the previously unpaid fees of $85.83, the new total of fees owed is $178.26. As fines have accrued for this case since and including February 19th at $250 per day, the to-date total is $34,000. But again, that's all to be discussed, and as it will continue or has continued to accrue, or will continue, I think, tomorrow and possibly beyond, that's all up for discussion at the second compliance hearing.
Okay. Thank you. Before I let Ms. Herstein sit down, do either of you have a question for her?
No, a question.
Okay.
Do we get, I'm sorry, I don't have a person, do we get after, a little bit to talk after? Or?
Yes. Oh, you're about to get your entire,
Don't worry, it'll be quick.
you can have the rest of my day.
No.
I have a dentist appointment at 10:30, so I don't really need to run out of here quickly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, which one of you or both of you would you like to, all right. Mr. Friedsone, okay? Could you please raise your right hand, sir?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And from what I understand, you are an owner of some sort in this property?
Correct, I'm one of the owners and one of the managers of the ownership group.
Okay, great. And what would you like to say to me?
Well, I completely obviously understand. Obviously for a project like this, we hire, let's get away from all the issues that we have for 2 years, right? With COVID and everything else, right, that happened, then, thank God we closed on a loan to give us the rest of the funding in December.
Okay.
Of last year. And then, obviously, we have a GC in place. And, I'm here because, obviously, I'm not here every day, and I'm going to be more active because we need to finish this. We're currently at this is what I'm here, obviously, to talk to them after. We're immense pressure from the brand to finish, or the project will be scrapped. So,
What brand are you opening? Hilton. Oh,
so it's a great brand, and we have the money for it. And obviously, I rely on a GC to do things or things, and I'm here because I'm lost. I don't understand. I completely agree. This should not take this long. And for example, one of the things that I get told is a lot of the outside work, they don't want to do until they do more inside of the rooms because it's an outside corridor hotel, and if they do a lot outside and then we got to do rooms, it's just more difficult or complicated, so they want to keep that after we advance more in the rooms. That's what I'm told, which makes sense to me because I'm not an expert, but that's, but I don't, so that makes that why a lot of the stock of work and all that obviously has not been fixed. That's what
and that is a good argument for mitigation when you're done.
When you're done.
Okay. For instance, if we required you to maintain the landscaping and made you plant flowers and then you plant or park a truck on top of it,
Yeah.
that's not going to achieve anything, right? So we're not here we live in the real world, okay? I understand that a construction site has a process. The violations that were safety, I want it done immediately. The rest of it, you can come back and explain to me why the order needed to be amended for a longer time period, or what I asked you to do because of, say, supply chain, or, contractor, whatever. your contractor got eaten by a shark when he walked by, whatever it is, okay?
I understand.
But on the other hand, we really would like this done.
Oh my God, believe me, we've spent over $6 million already, and we have all our furniture, all of it, waiting on a warehouse that we pay every day a cost to be installed. And we need to open or we won't be able to, because Hilton's gonna pull out if they don't see some movement, they told me immediately. So that's why I'm here, and that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, now that you've met me, you can see that I'm trying to be reasonable with you, and then we'll see you again when it's done.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Darnell, anything you'd like to say?
No.
All right. Having heard the test, I have a question.
Yes.
Previous administrative fees, why have they not been paid? They're only 80-something dollars.
I'll pay.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't want to write on my phone.
I don't want you to pull it out of your wallet,
Yeah.
but we would really like that
I'll pay
done.
right now.
Well, no, you can't pay it here. I imagine it
I'll
gets,
walk there. Can I pay cash? Or with carry card? I'll pay it over there.
I'm sure you can pay
I'll
it
go
that
from
way.
here, I'll walk there and pay.
It's just an oversight.
Okay, because little things matter.
Okay.
All right, I like people coming here with their fees paid. We call it clean hands, okay?
I'll go from here. When I'm finished, we'll go to
I'll take care of that.
Becky will tell me
All right,
where to go.
thank you. All right, I'm going to issue an order number 11, find the property was not in compliance. Order that the $250 a day fine run, as Ms. Herstein said, it's presently at $34,000. Order administrative fees to be paid of $92.43 within 14 days. And your total $178.26. I'm just reminding you that's the total of both sets of administrative fees.
The last one plus this.
Last one plus this one.
We'll pay right now.
Okay? All right. I can't wait to see how this comes out. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Does the city have any other business?
Thank you, Your Honor, we do not, other than the upcoming dates, as long as Your Honor is comfortable with them.
Let's see. Our next is Thursday, August 18th. I am perfectly happy with that. Anybody? Okay. And then September 15th and then October 20th. Those all look good.
Thank you.
I know that we switched from Wednesday to Thursday.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve, you have a second?
Absolutely.
I have a question on concrete spalling.
Okay.
And since you're here, so I don't have to yell across the room. Hey, Sherry, you need autographs?
Yes, 2 of them are minutes.
Okay.
I neglected to have you sign April's minutes last month, or whenever we met.
Thank you. I have at my house in Colorado a walkway that goes from the driveway to the front door, and the top of it is spalled. Is there a way of fixing that without removing the entire piece and repouring it? I mean, can I just put Quickcrete on top of it, or will that just,
It'll just pop off with the rest of it.
okay?
If you don't remove the loose concrete, and clean the reinforcing bar, because it's usually the reinforcing bar that's in it, it's rusted, that's expanding, that's making the concrete crack.